public today means on the internet. It used to be in public meant in Times Square or outside your house. But the number of people who can see what you do in Times Square is zero compared to the number of people who can see what's on the internet. Public has been redefined. Facebook is in a position to control far more than it has any business controlling, than it has any right to control. It didn't necessarily set out to become the big boss of public software in the world, which is what it is.
A monopoly. And as a result of that, they started making a lot of money. Then people start to look at it and say, well, wait a minute. They're making all of that money, and in fact, all of the money, off of somebody else's property.
It's very much analogous to what was to become America in the 1770s. If you look at that period, what you really get is a portrait of a young colony that is having more and more of their rights taken away from them.
We take our personal lives and we hand them over to somebody else, and we lose control of that data, essentially.
They've got a corporate responsibility to determine, for instance, what is proper information, what isn't proper information, what information is worth getting put to the top of your newsfeed, what information should be moved over here, and they get to unilaterally make that call. And in fact, they kind of have to unilaterally make that call because they've got a corporate responsibility to do so. Then you get into this arena where they've got a corporate responsibility to determine what is or is not tolerable speech. And in a public square that's got over 2 billion people on it, 2/7 of the world's population, soon to be 3/7 of the world's population, that's a problem.
The intersection between what Facebook does and the public interest, the interest of the citizens of the United States, and eventually the citizens of everywhere, is that intersection is large.
In certain aspects of the digital world, specifically social media, specifically data and who owns the data. And I think blockchain can provide an excellent solution to the problem of how we as individuals control our data and how we as individuals capitalize on our data, our natural resource, that being data.
A decentralized blockchain with cryptocurrency attached to it that could be governed, not unlike any country could be governed, with a constitution. And because it was decentralized, people could actually control their own data. That would be the way to give all of the economics back to the user. The question, of course, was then, how do you make money? And I thought, it could be a crypto exchange.
The new face of the internet will be companies that allow users to control all of their data.
We have an opportunity to design a social network that is tremendously valuable because we were the first to think about it. That's just a matter of record, black and white, look it up. But a lot of history has happened since then. We've had a lot of experience.
If you use your social network the way you use it today, instead of the platform getting the money from the advertiser, you get the money from the advertiser and in cryptocurrency, and you can use that cryptocurrency to pay for things like your music streaming, like movie streaming, like ride hailing, like ordering food, or just a straight income. That within one app or ecosystem could be extremely powerful.
If the surface of this sphere represents everything going on at a particular moment in time, we can represent space as radii of the sphere. And if I put all those instants together, it's like putting little millimeter rulers representing a moment of time. I put them together and I get a vector.
And each vector is its own app, so to speak. So you can have your social net app as one vector on the sphere. You can have a search engine as another vector on the sphere. You can have your news organizations as another vector on the sphere. And the sphere then collapses into a card stack social net where AI will determine what exactly it is it thinks you want to see and experience. And then it kind of got even bigger because then we started to extend it into, well, wait a minute, if the blockchain, which is really just a database, if the blockchain is going to be democratically governed and every user is going to have sort of their own personal blockchain where they can sell their data to advertisers or not, sell their data to third-party market researchers or not, they own it, they control it. If you have that, then, and that's going to be a public blockchain and an organization, why can't you have other apps, other entrepreneurs access that database? So now we're putting ourselves in competition with ourselves.
That proof of concept is not a standalone. There are so many attachments that can go along to it, so many ways that value can be generated through that platform, and so many ways that not only our great ideas, but other people's great ideas can once and for all be put in together to access the same group of people, giving the people a way to let themselves be accessed if they choose. That's where I think this project is different. Look, I love the cryptocurrency markets. I love the technology of blockchain. And I think that this might really be that sweet spot where it all comes together. It all comes together.
We believe that if we don't stand up right now and fight for our digital rights, that we will lose them in perpetuity to these companies that are taking our data away from us.
It's something as fundamental as fundamental can be. I mean, an individual owning the rights to their own data. I mean, it's almost ridiculous to say, because like, what could be more fundamental than your name, where you live, what you like, what kind of music you like, what you download, what you stream, what you spend your money on. It's almost laughable that we were even talking about it.
The data that controls the world and controls the future of the world has to be placed into the hands of the people to whom it belongs. We have an opportunity to do that, not just our platform, our project, but we as a society, we as a civilization, have not just an opportunity to do that, we have an obligation to do that, because if we don't, it's going to be too late.
So this is a new revolution, and it's not just an American revolution. Our revolution is modeled on the American Revolution, but it is global in nature.
We have always believed as a nation in privacy as taken for granted. Your life is yours. The facts that describe you are yours. The idea that anyone else has a right to them is not even worth denying. It's fundamentally inconsistent with what we mean by the United States of America. You can't get very more fundamental than that. Your life is yours. Yourself is yours, period.